We are not your grandmothers and grandfathers in NAACP, and I know some chapters that's what I think of. We wanted to make this organization that already existed, that had a name, to see if we could make it work more effectively for justice in our community. Well, I saw Shaq, I saw Ray Lewis, I saw Jim Brown, who I think all of us were disappointed because Jim Brown was one of our heroes, and he was a social activist. There's an iconic picture with he, Bill Russell, then Lou Alcindor, who's now Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and several other people siding with him because in 1967, people know the history, he refused to serve in the military because he thought the war was unjust. He said it was against his religion, and he said that he thought it was foolish for him to go to another country to kill people that never done anything, when here at home I'm mistreated and am a second-class citizen. A lot of whites and older blacks didn't understand that. Well, yes, they did understand it. It was a challenge to white dominance, and this nigga wasn't gonna do what we said, so we got to get him. So he was convicted and sentenced to 10 years in prison, and he spent several years appealing it, and it was 4 years from the time that he was disallowed to fight to earn a living anywhere. And normally when they do that, they not only do that, they take your passport so you can't go overseas and earn a living. So it's a lynching. Many people disagreed. The Supreme Court in 1970 or 71, I forget, overturned the lower court's decision, and he went back to fighting. Now, keep in mind, after 4 years, he never returned to what he was before. He was still better generally than most other people, but 4 prime years out of his life. And now everybody loves him. I went to see the Muhammad Ali Museum in Louisville just this past fall, and I don't think I saw a black person there. Everybody that was white. I saw buses of white people getting out of the car. He's a hero now because he stood by his conviction, and they were principles. The masses of people, unfortunately, always follow what's popular. And the few of us who stand against it, they never understand. They say you're crazy. They said Colin Kaepernick is crazy. A lot of other players say he's crazy. He's giving up his career. Well, it's because they're weaker people. Cowards and weak people and oppressors are all related. Here we go now. Colin Kaepernick was correct. Shaquille O'Neal, who rides with the general, went on Fox News deliberately. He wasn't just asked a question, he responded. He went on Fox News, who, and everybody knows that's a right-wing, white supremacist propaganda machine. And I always tell people very much similar to the evening crimes here in Crittenden County. Now, I don't know if the evening crimes is better than they were now since they've got new ownership, but for years, the Coulter boys and the people used that as a mechanism to attack anybody black, because they've attacked me a lot. And let me be clear, I attacked them back, though. I give as good as I got. I don't back down. But at any rate, Shaq got on Fox News in the circular couch and said that Colin Kaepernick was doing damage to the flag. And even though Shaq had said he wasn't protesting the flag, but Shaq still went with that false straw man argument that he was, and then went on making false equivalencies like, well, why didn't he do this when he first came to the league? Well, why didn't he do it before? And I'm thinking, I don't know. Why weren't you born before you were born? It's a stupid thing to say. Or why didn't you marry your wife the year before you married her? You see how foolish that is? Why didn't the sun shine 5 minutes earlier than it did? That's a stupid question. But he was so intent on defaming this young man. Now he's back. So the other day, when Drew Brees came out and made some statements that suggested he still did not understand what Shaq was doing, what Colin Kaepernick was doing, and everybody was getting on his back, Shaq sat there and was quiet and said, well, I called Drew Brees and blah, blah, blah. And I was thinking, you did the same. You did worse than him. You mean to tell me you're a black man and you don't understand that America has been thoroughly racist toward black people? Of course he does. but he's making money. So that's what you have. Roger Goodell made some statements the other day about we were wrong, they were right. I always that kind of gets on my nerves. I was telling you I was right, but you wouldn't listen. And now, after you've damaged his career for 4 years, and he didn't say we're going to offer Colin Kaepernick his job back. I didn't hear that. And until I hear that, I consider that as a political move on the part of corporations and NFL in particular. They're just trying to ride the wave that they see now because it's financially expedient to. The owners haven't come out and denounced racism. They haven't come out and said that Kaepernick was right. Everybody needs to come out and say Colin Kaepernick was absolutely correct. I saw Marcellus Wiley on a show with Whitlock, some guy named Whitlock. The show's been canceled. And Marcellus Wiley went as far to say that Colin Kaepernick, because of that he's multiracial, like many of us are, he went to say that Colin Kaepernick didn't have the authority to speak because he was multiracial. Well, I heard all kind of stuff. I wonder what he's saying now. What did the people say when they talked about Muhammad Ali in 1967? And then later on he came on and was vindicated. But in America, if you challenge white supremacy, they are going to crucify you. You don't have to wonder. It's coming. The question is, do you have the stomach and the strength to tolerate it? Now, everybody says that they love Jesus, who demonstrated that same forthrightness. And he challenged that system, and they killed him. And we say that that's our Lord and Savior. That's our example. But do we really believe that? Because when people stand up against the system, everybody jumps on you. So hooray for Colin Kaepernick, but I understand. I know that there had to been some dark days for him because, he wanted to play football, and they took that away from him. We are not your grandmothers and grandfathers in NAACP. And I know some chapters that's what I think of. We wanted to make this organization that already existed, that had a name, to see if we could make it work more effectively for justice in our community.